Good morning. My name is Adam Rowe, and I'm coming here today to talk to you about this object that I'm about to present you. So, for our speech class, we're supposed to give a public speech about an object that really defines who we are as a person and kind of helps you to get to know us. So, for my object, I have chosen this piece of paper, and it may not look like much because it's probably hard to see from that distance, but this is actually a court-ordered adoption paper for my son Jordan. So this really represents so much of who I am because what fatherhood became to me and became a part of my life. So the story is a little complicated because my son's actually quite a bit older than you would anticipate. I'm only 29 years old myself, and he's actually 22. And I know you're thinking, well, that math doesn't seem to add up, and you're right, it's a little bit of a strange circumstance, but there's a lot of story behind that. You see, I was looking to do life and do ministry for the Lord, and I needed to really just give everything I had to God and let Him take me where He would. And the funny thing is, when you pray that God will use you, believe it or not, He will answer that prayer even if it's not in ways that you quite expect. You see, I ended up finding this young man who is now my son. His name's Jordan. And he needed family. He needed a home. He was growing up in an environment that was not good at all. Family was hooked on drugs. He was struggling with school. He was running around in the streets. And I decided, you know what? You need better than this. You need a life that's better. And you need a family. So I took him in. And over the years, we came to know each other closer and closer, and I ended up being able to adopt him. And that is such a huge part of my story, is now that I am a father, that is part of who I am. Now, let's be honest, it's not traditional fatherhood, right? I'm 29, he's 22. It seems odd, and I understand that. But one of the important things that really defines who I am was I'm not going to let what the world looks at as non-traditional or crazy define what I'm going to do for God. What I'm going to do for God is dependent on what He calls me to, and what He called me to was this kind of strange-looking, non-traditional father-son relationship. And I'm okay with it. I never am going to let what the world looks at as crazy define what I'm going to do for the Lord. And that is just such a huge part of now who I am. And I gotta be honest, there are some circumstances that still seem pretty weird because, well, now he's engaged and he's going to be getting married this next year. And I mean, I may have grandkids before I'm even, 32, and that would be kind of a strange set of circumstances, but I wouldn't change it for anything. Because what non-traditional fatherhood has taught me is God loves us regardless of our circumstances. God loves us regardless of how messy or how messed up our lives seem beforehand. And now I get to live just a little bit of that as an example day in and day out for my son and those who get to see our circumstances. And I gotta be honest, that's not because of who I am or what I've done, but just because of how God has blessed a willing heart that would say yes, even if the circumstances aren't normal. See, that's a lot of who I am now, and I thank you for your time, and I want you to know that God loves you, and if you're willing to say yes, God can bless you in ways that you just wouldn't believe.